and since they're both negatives, you're really adding them both to get negative 9. And then another example would be negative 10 plus 3, which would be negative 7 because you're taking away the 3 from negative 10. Bad examples of these would be they're the same problem, negative 6 minus 3, but instead you're taking 3 away from the negative 6 to get negative 3, and you should never subtract two negatives. And then negative 10 plus 3 would not give you a negative 13 because you're not ever supposed to add the 3 to the negative 10. It's always subtract 3 from negative 10 to get negative 7. The definition of the integer is a number without fractional part, no fraction. For example, 4.5, you can't have that because that would be a fraction. A easier way to explain that would be involving normal numbers, example 1, 2, 3, and so on. And and negative numbers, example negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, and so on. And of course 0. So I drew a picture of a number line to explain this. For example, negative 5 plus 8, you start at the negative 5 and you count your way to 8, which would end up at 3. So 3 would be your answer. That's just an easier way to do it. And a visual problem explanation. It's kind of complicated, but negative 5 plus 8 times 6 to the third power times 5 divided by 1. So you're going to do your order of operations, which is, there's no parentheses in this, so you're going to move on to the exponent, which is 6 to the third power. So 6 times 6 is 36, and then times 6 again is 216, so it's going to end up negative 5 plus 8 times 216 times 5 divided by 1. And then you're going to move on to multiplication, and there's division here, so you're going to go left to right. So 8 times 216 would be 1,728. So now you're negative 5 plus 1,728 times 5 divided by 1. So now you're going to go left to right to division. Negative 5 plus 8,640 because... Oh, I'm sorry, multiplying, because 1,728 times 5 is 8,640. So now you're going to divide the 8,640 by 1, because left to right, and you're going to get the same number, 8,640. And now it's negative 5 plus 8,640. So now you're going to subtract 5 from that number, and you're going to get 8,635, and that will be your answer.
Excellent.
So.
Alright, again, what you just heard was an example of 100%. He's got a good example right here. He has a bad example. Obviously he knew what he was doing. He has his written explanation step by step, maybe next to this problem. He has his integer definition, and then he has his way of showing it a different way. So hopefully this helps you a little bit.